Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, has shared raw video of the actor and Blake Lively from the set of It Ends With Us in an attempt to squash her claims of sexual harassment during the production, and boy, does it make Blake look bad. Blake cited this specific scene in a lawsuit against Baldoni that she filed in December, claiming he acted inappropriately on set, and the feud between the actors has reached a fever pitch in recent months as Baldoni countersued Blake, and the internet has turned into a giant ping pong ball bouncing between them as we try to determine who is right and who is wrong. The director's legal team said they chose to release this video, which they say includes all 3 takes filmed for a slow dancing montage in an effort to finally clear his name from Blake's smear campaign. Now, given the historical and legal complexities that women have faced when attempting to fight back against sexual harassment and other sexual crimes against them, I must admit I am typically inclined to believe women in these matters, though I always argue for due process, okay? Belief is not enough. We have to have due process. People should be able to face their accusers and go to trial when these accusations are out there, no matter what public opinion is or how people feel. That being said, it is simply a fact that women rarely lie about such instances. In reality, every incentive is stacked against them telling the truth, even when wrongdoing has occurred. They oftentimes still lose their jobs. Even when they go to HR, they can no longer work in their chosen field. If they choose to pursue litigation, they often lose friends and family members. They can face violent backlash. And typically, the women get smeared in the public square no matter what. But while it is pretty rare for a woman to make false accusations, that does not mean that it never happens. In fact, we know it happens in about 2 to 10% of cases. And when it does, I am in favor of publicly tarring and feathering the liars who not only harm their target that they're lying about, but who make it all the harder for real victims to get justice and come forward. And I have to say, after digging into this matter more, I think Blake Lively is one of those women. Hey guys, I'm Hannah Cox. Welcome to my channel where I bring you my politically homeless takes on politics and culture. If you're also politically homeless, I would love for you to join this ideological tent city I'm building here by hitting the subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. I think it's fair to say that the Blake Lively / Ryan Reynolds side of this case had already been losing in the court of public opinion long before the lawsuits between Blake and Justin Baldoni began. Throughout production of the film, which was highly anticipated, it was based on a very popular book by Colleen Hoover, It Ends With Us, and it dealt with a very serious matter, which is domestic abuse. So fans of the book were very excited. Baldoni had indicated an intense love and appreciation for the book. He seemed very committed to telling the heroine story, and people were just really, really pumped to see this put into a film. But as the production got going, the rumors started coming out that Blake was very difficult to work with, that she'd essentially taken over the set. She'd fired the costume designer and was putting together her own wardrobe, which looked questionable at best in the screenshots that were being released. Like, it already started to sound kind of dramatic. And then when the press tour started, it was clear something was awry. She wasn't doing press with Justin. They had like 2 separate screenings at the premiere. I mean, it was very apparent there was bad blood between them. But not only was there bad blood between Blake and Justin, there also started to be a lot of bad blood between Blake and the audience. And that's because Blake, I think, just showed her true colors on the press tour. She didn't talk about domestic abuse. She didn't seem to grasp the gravity of the subject matter that they were talking about. She really seemed to make it all about herself. Like, she looked like a floozy, okay? She was coming into the press interviews and talking about her fashion and talking about her hair care line. I think she and Ryan also tried to promote a liquor that they have at some point during all of this. It just looked super insensitive and clueless and really narcissistic. I mean, just compare the way Blake was behaving in interviews to how Justin Baldoni was approaching them.
This is your night, mister.
No, this isn't my night. This is a night for all the women who we made this movie for. This is a night for Blake. This is so much. And when you're touched and moved by something, like as deeply as I was by this book, it just kind of comes naturally. Yes, this is a movie about love and hope, but that we don't shy away from the issue to it, but about the why behind it. If a Lily Bloom in real life can sit in this theater and maybe make a different choice for herself than was made for her. Maybe she sees herself on that screen and chooses something different for herself.
I think that the wardrobe was a really critical part of that storytelling, and I'm really, really proud of it. But I'm wearing like a ton of like Bodhi and vintage, and it's some of my favorite wardrobe I've ever worn. It's just like so expressive and eclectic and really gives you such a sense of the character.
Blake clearly thought this was her comeback moment, and I think she was just out of her depth entirely. She's never been a super serious actress. She's best known for her role on Gossip Girl, which I am a devout fan of. Gossip Girl was my era. I still rewatch it. Amazing show, but it is like a nighttime soap drama. I don't think she had the intellectual chops to approach this role, to be quite candid, and I also just don't think her acting was up to par. So as this press tour was crashing out for all the world to see, more and more people started coming forward about their unpleasant experiences with Blake too. This video that a journalist released of her encounter with Blake years ago went particularly viral. I mean, this thing went bonkers viral. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
And so when you combined all of these headlines, all of these clips, it ended up with Blake pretty much just becoming a laughingstock. I mean, if you go scroll TikTok under Blake Lively, it is just video after video like this. People are mocking her. They're making fun of her fashion choices. They're calling out her diva behavior. The internet and really the fan base as a whole has absolutely turned on her. I give this backstory because I think it adds context for the real reasons this turned into a legal battle, and I don't think it has anything to do with sexual harassment. But I do think when we dig in, it's pretty clear that she and her husband, Ryan, who's gotten very involved in this feud as well, had some reasons to lie. And really, over the past month and a half after Blake filed her lawsuit, it really did seem like the tide might turn back in her direction because she seemed to have a lot of receipts within it, a lot of specific details of problematic behavior by Justin on set, a lot of text, and a lot of people, particularly women, were feeling like maybe they judged the situation too fast. Maybe they had been manipulated. They were being bad feminists and had rushed to attack another woman who was actually a victim in this situation. One thing that makes these kinds of sexual crimes and offenses difficult to prove is the he said, she said nature of them. But fortunately for Baldoni, in this circumstance, he has film on his side. And I applaud he and his legal team's choice to release it because I think that he has been really maligned in this whole situation. The cast and crew have not been coming to his defense. I don't think that's because Blake is right and he's wrong. I think that's because Blake and Ryan are really, really powerful in Hollywood and have a lot of money. And Justin is far less known. He doesn't have as much money or power. He doesn't have as many high profile and powerful friends. And so people who want to keep working in the industry are just going to keep their heads down and try to get through this whole feud. And in the meantime, Justin has been facing pretty serious consequences due to Blake's allegations. Not only has he had to spend money defending himself and now filing his own lawsuit, which is exorbitant, I'm sure lawyer fees are absolutely insane, but he's also had his talent agency, WME, drop him as a client. His co-host, Liz Plank, resigned from the podcast that they did called Man Enough in response to the allegations. And the women's organization Vital Voices rescinded the Voices of Solidarity award that they had previously bestowed upon him. So if she is lying, this has not been a victimless crime already. So let's compare Blake's allegations to the footage that Justin has released. In her December 20th complaint suing Baldoni and some of his associates alleging sexual harassment and a retaliatory smear campaign against her, Lively claimed that Justin exhibited disturbing and unprofessional behavior on the set of the hit Colleen Hoover adaptation, causing a hostile work environment and grief, fear, trauma, and extreme anxiety. Wow, pretty heavy stuff. I've had some shitty jobs. I don't think I would ever use language like this to describe them, so I'm guessing he must have done something really crazy on set to deserve this kind of complaint, right? Not judging by this footage. Now, the video he released is all 3 takes of the scene that she mentions in her complaint. I will link the full video. Most of it is very, very repetitive. I don't know if you've ever been on a film set. I have. I did some extra work at one time. So boring. Literally making a movie, making a TV show, making a music video. It's mostly just standing around. Now, Blake claimed that the video shows Mr. Baldoni repeatedly leaning in toward Miss Lively, attempting to kiss her, kissing her forehead, rubbing his face and mouth against her neck, flicking her lip with his thumb, caressing her, telling her how good she smells, and talking with her out of character. Every moment of this was improvised by Mr. Baldoni with no discussion or consent in advance and no intimacy coordinator present. If a random man that you work with or your boss were to exhibit these behaviors, then I would readily agree, yes, that this is sexual harassment. But need I remind you, Blake Lively, you signed up to play the heroine in a romance that obviously constitutes filming some romantic scenes with your male lead. So I don't think typically when you're acting, and I can speak to acting on the stage, that you need to get permission for every single way the opposite actor is going to touch you and convey romantic attraction in a scene. Yes, typically these things are coordinated on a set to some extent, but nothing in here is out of bounds of what you would anticipate having happen between you on a set. As Baldoni's legal team noted at the beginning of the footage, the scene in question was designed to show the two characters falling in love and longing to be close to one another. Both actors are clearly behaving well within the scope of the scene and with mutual respect and professionalism. And yes, if you watch the entire 10 minutes of film, as I have now done 3 times, that is what you're going to see. But throughout it, there is not a single instance where I see him acting unprofessionally. So the fact that you are going to file a complaint that the actor opposite you, kissed your forehead, kissed your neck, nuzzled you, what are you talking about? You look absolutely crazy. Even the script itself about the scene says Lily and Ryle slow dance in the bar, patrons around them drink and watch sports, completely in their own world. And looking at the footage, this is exactly what you would anticipate to see. Like, she acts as if he's groping her or like in some way taking advantage of her or touching her inappropriately. Not at all. This is literally just a romantic, slow dancing scene. It's exactly what you would anticipate happening by that description. This is the moment where he goes in to kiss her neck, but if you can see, it doesn't even look like he's actually making contact with her. It looks like he's kind of just smelling her hair. I cannot fathom the audacity to be in this role and complain about his actions in this scene. Not only that, but if you listen to some of the dialogue here, it's very clear that he actually is planning out much of the intimacy between them.
Let's just do one almost like super close. Yeah. Can you guys frame up on the Sebastian on you? Yeah. We'll just do like our lips are right next to each other.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I think you should start talking.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Still rolling.
Don't give it to them. They want it. Don't give it to them.
Score.
Just keep restraint.
Yeah.
Score.
Just do a little bit of restraint.
Right, come on back. Us cross. No, your name. Sorry. Ponytail lady.
And then
cross this way. Cross this way. Take your day. Cross this way.
Now, Baldoni was both the lead male actor and also the director, so he's having to sort of juggle both of those roles at the same time, but I think he's doing it pretty well. At another point in her lawsuit, Lively makes an accusation that during the slow dance scene, Baldoni leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good." Now, what's interesting here is twofold. If he were to just pop off and say this and it wasn't in the script, that would be super weird. But as you will see in a minute from other footage I'm going to show you, it's actually Blake that keeps talking inappropriately during the scene and getting out of character. But more importantly, when Justin says this to her, it is in context she conveniently left out.
I'm probably getting a spray tan on you.
That smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
So she is being apologetic, saying she probably smells bad because of her spray tan or her body makeup. And he's saying, no, it's fine. You smell good. So this isn't him hitting on her or sexually harassing her. This is him just trying to make her feel comfortable. He's being very polite to her. And that's, I think, the dominant thing I noticed throughout the entire footage is that she's sort of a jerk. Again, I'm going to show you some more in a minute. And he just keeps being nice, being kind, keeping things moving. He's very professional. She's the one that is out of bounds. Next up, Blake claimed that after caressing her with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles, Baldoni later allegedly responded to her objection by saying, "I'm not even attracted to you," according to the filing. Now, this is the only place I can find in the footage where he makes that kind of motion. I think this is completely relevant to the scene that they were shooting. And again, as I said, it doesn't even look like he makes contact with her. I can't find anywhere in this footage where he says, "I'm not attracted to you." So you guys listen, maybe you'll catch it. I don't. But even if he did, what's wrong with that? Isn't the whole point that you think he's sexually harassing you? So if he's saying, "I'm not attracted to you, I'm not hitting on you," I think that would assuage your concerns somewhat. In order for Blake Lively to succeed in pressing these sexual harassment claims, she has to prove to some extent that there was a power imbalance. This is really important for people to understand about the law. It typically is not just enough for you to say that somebody sexually harassed you. You have to actually be able to prove that certain things happened in order for you to get damages. You have to be able to show that there was an actual power imbalance. You have to be able to say that this impacted your ability to do your job or the state of your employment. Like, this actually is a higher bar than most people think once you get to the courts. And that's why I think she's trying to make this next claim. Lively's lawyers said that Mr. Baldoni was not only Miss Lively's co-star, but the director, the head of the studio, and Miss Lively's boss. The video shows Miss Lively leaning away and repeatedly asking for the characters to just talk. Any woman who has been inappropriately touched in the workplace will recognize Miss Lively's discomfort. They will recognize her attempts at levity to try to deflect the unwanted touching. No woman should have to take defensive measures to avoid being touched by their employer without their consent. Again, this isn't being touched by your employer without your consent. You signed up to be a romantic lead. You were obviously going to get touched in that role. And if he was like groping her, grabbing her private areas, I mean, yeah, I would see a problem there still, even in the context of this role, but that's not what's happening at all. But more importantly, her claims that there was this power imbalance between her and Justin Baldoni are utter hogwash. As I said, she absolutely has the star power. She has the money. She has the connections in Hollywood. Yes, he was the producer. He had the film rights. He was the director. But as we saw play out in what happened with this film, he certainly didn't have power over her. She was calling the shots on set. She was rewriting the script. She was bringing in her husband to help rewrite the script. She was changing the fashion and wardrobe, and she ultimately was able to convince the studio to release her version, her cut of the film, even though it tested worse than his did. So this whole argument that there was a power imbalance is crazy. And you can see in this video her taking control and doing those very things. Instead of actually playing the part she's supposed to be playing, she keeps trying to direct him, to change the shot. She keeps taking him out of character. She keeps making inappropriate comments. Watch.
This is on the marks, and I think the light is Oh, okay. Maybe we should be talking.
Ryan, go to the bar. Ryan, go to the bar.
She is completely unprofessional. She's completely outside the bounds of what her role should be. That doesn't seem like somebody to me who thinks there's a power imbalance. She's trying to literally direct him. And not only does she keep talking and insist that they talk versus show a romantic dance scene where they're falling in love, as the script calls for, the stuff she was saying to him where she is out of character is really off-putting.
And they win!
Oh my gosh, we don't shut up.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
Staring? You just stare.
literally we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally look at each other and like
when
time.
I found a sociopath.
And like time stops.
Yeah.
But like that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my god, there's not enough time.
And they score again.
Yeah.
Again.
It's like, oh my god, I forgot to tell you something else.
I think that's cute. You guys are really cute.
I think it's more than cute.
They won the Stanley Cup.
I think it's amazing.
So she calls him a sociopath, her boss. She can't do the scene as needed. That's quite evident. She completely ruins every shot they try to get. He keeps trying to make her comfortable. He even brings up his own wife. He's trying to make jokes. He's trying to keep it light. She gets really weird and offended when he says that her relationship is cute. Like, this woman seems like a complete psycho. And at one point, she even insults his appearance and tells him he should get plastic surgery.
I feel so nosy.
I know.
I feel like noses.
And my nose is so big.
Yes, I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that. And then,
Cut.
just kidding.
Homegirl looks crazy right now, and no feminist should be defending her. This is embarrassing. It really does seem to me that in an effort to play the victim and salvage the reputation that she and she alone burned to the ground over a period of many years, I might add, that she decided to take on this lawsuit. Many have also speculated that Ryan Reynolds became jealous of the pair's working relationship. He does have a history of being controlling, according to previous girlfriends and fiancés, and they both have a history of cheating on set and hooking up with their scene partners. So that might have some merit to it. I don't know. That's all just, people guessing from the outside. Certainly, though, both Blake and Ryan have a brand together that they are seeking to protect. And what do you do when you're out of options and the world is turned against you? You play the victim. It may be true that Blake felt uncomfortable on set. She was a new mom. She was returning to set for the first time in a while. She hadn't done this kind of work with a man who wasn't her husband in some time. It's very clear she had some very serious body issues going on based on other texts that have come out from this whole feud. I think she was very desperate to prove herself and take control. There is, a good bit of backing for these theories. But regardless of how Blake felt, you can't just project your feelings onto other people. Feelings aren't facts. And the facts so far are falling heavily in Baldoni's court here. Baldoni is very fortunate that he had footage to release in this instance. Most men don't. And of course, we will see what happens when and if these court cases make it to trial. I'm not sure they actually will, because I just don't think Blake has a leg to stand on, and she would probably be smart to bow out. But I also think, given the amount of spotlight on this and the pride involved, it's probably unlikely. So I'll be waiting to see how this all shakes out. I'm curious for your thoughts. What do you think? Do you believe Blake? Do you believe Justin? Do you think that either of them are blameless in this situation? I'd love to hear your thoughts. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want even more content, you can follow me elsewhere. I have all my links in my bio.